Budo and fitness stores keeps you in the game. Fighter gear for fighters by fighters.
One of the things I wanted to clear up that I think is very confusing to people is the whole fight pass thing. So not only, I think we did a bad job of messaging it, not only to, the fans, but also to our fighters. I heard Gustafsson said yesterday, I'm a little bummed out. I went from pay-per-view to fight pass. First of all, the fight is here in the UK. The fight is being distributed to 350 million possible viewers, throughout the world. This fight is available in Canada, Brazil, Mexico, Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, the Philippines, Australia, Mongolia, India, New Zealand, the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and all of those countries down there. In the UK, the entire card will be on BT Sport, The entire card, and the main event for the first time ever here will be on Channel 5, Open TV to everybody. The main event will be. We're in Ireland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Croatia, and Israel. All of those countries on television, 350 million homes. The Americans have to pay for it on Fight Pass. So the reason that this happened is we added 10 more fights. We went to Fox and tried to see if Fox would pick up these 10 more fights, and they didn't. So that's why we put these on Fight Pass. So
why didn't they pick it up?
Why what?
Why didn't Fox pick it up?
They don't, they create their budgets at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't in their budget to pick up these fights. Not to say they don't pick them up later or whatever could happen with the deal, but that's what happened. So it's either nobody gets to see them or you put them on Fight Pass. So I hope that clears up some of the questions about Fight Pass. And this thing was only, and anybody else in the rest of the world and countries I didn't call, that I didn't say a minute ago, they get it on Fight Pass too. Which, of course, all these people in other countries are pumped to pay for it on Fight Pass, whereas the Americans who are used to getting these fights for free, some of them are a little twisted. But whatever.
What you guys have done differently in terms of getting the message out?
Good question. We did. We had that press conference, but even at that press conference, we talked about Fight Pass, what it is, what it's going to be, but I don't know if we really explained, how many other countries this would be in on some form of television.
I think the day you launched it, you didn't have a plan for here.
And you might be right. You might be right. I don't remember, but you're probably right. So what else?
Yesterday it was announced that UFC Sweden will be on October 4th, the same day as UFC London. Is that correct? The two events on the same day?
That is true. Right?
On that event, are we going to see Alexander Arnold card? And is it going to be a title fight?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, we got to see what happens tonight, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I love your optimism in him winning tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him, and obviously, we'll start building that card as it gets closer.
But is it a possibility in a long-term way to see a title fighting in Sweden?
Well, I was talking about that earlier today. Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility that we could do that fight in Sweden. I mean, it would be huge. But the problem is that the time difference between the United States and obviously when we do big fights like a Jones Gustafsson type fight, we like to do it in Las Vegas. Vegas is always a great place for everybody to go. It's it's a lot easier to do really big fights there. But again, I'm not ruling out that we wouldn't do it up in Sweden.
How do you think the fight goes tomorrow then?
Both great stand-up guys. Mantle was in the best shape I've ever seen him in today at the weigh-ins. He looked better than I've ever seen him. And Gustafsson is a beast, so we'll see. I don't know.
Did you miss London? Is it nice to be back to London?
It is nice to be back to London. It's nice to be back to London when there's good weather here. I like this. It's a serious change of pace.
What's taking you so long?
Well, we've been back here. I just haven't been back here. I've been a little busy.
That's what I'm talking about. Why?
Yeah. Well, we're in this position now where last month I was on the road for like 3.5 weeks straight, and then when you get back into the office, I have work to do too, catching up with the team and doing things that need to be done. It's tougher for me to travel as much as I used to, there was a point in time when I was like, I'm still going to every fight, and then we had 10 more fights, and then we had 10 more fights, and you know, it's tough to do.
What is it about the British fight fans here in the UK?
They're nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I just told the fighters, I said, for those of you that have never fought in the UK, get ready, because tomorrow's going to be a fucking experience. It's awesome. The only thing I can compare it to is like Brazil. Brazil and the UK, if you've never seen a fight in Brazil or the UK, it's something you have to put on your bucket list, because it's pretty special.
We're going to have Canada manage you now too.
Huh?
We're going to have Canada manage you now
Canada's
too.
already mad at me. It's going to be a while before they're not mad.
Swedish fans have been chanting every night. What's wrong with the crowd too?
Huh?
The Swedish fans.
Swedish, oh, here we go. Now I'm hurting everybody's feelings.
What about France?
Yeah, we come from Paris.
France
This time for an event in Paris.
What about it?
Paris, French market. Is it something?
Yeah, that's, you know, we love that market. We want to go there. It's you know, we're working it. We're massaging it. We're getting it done.
Last Friday, Joe Rogan said on a LA radio station that there was a big secret regarding the women's division. Can you shed any light on this? And announcement is big.
Joe Rogan blew my whole week with that interview. Okay, I've been getting terrorized ever since he said it. There's nothing done as far as her next opponent is, and Kat Zingano has gone kind of radio silent on me. She's been through a lot of stuff, so I don't know where she's at or what she's thinking. But and Ronda's on vacation. She's like in Costa Rica or something. You know, she's off the grid for a while, so no big announcements yet.
So no Gina Carano, there's no Ronda Rousey, there's Cyborg or Gina Carano in the works?
So when people started talking about the Gina Carano thing, I literally didn't even know how many fights we had Gina Carano under. You know, she's still under a Strikeforce deal. So when everybody started calling me about this thing, I asked our legal team. She's got a 4-fight deal left with Strikeforce, under a Strikeforce contract.
Is it still valid?
Yeah. I mean, when you go on a hiatus, whether you're injured or semi-retired or whatever, yeah, you're still under contract. If you come back, you're still under contract with us. So she is under contract with us, but I have no plans right now.
If she wanted to fight for you in the UFC, would you make that fight happen?
If she wanted to fight in the UFC, yes, of course. If Gina Carano wanted to fight in the UFC, we would definitely do it.
Would you give her an immediate title shot? I think that's what people are.
Is that the question?
Well, that's what people are.
Guys, I have no idea. You know, I have literally avoided every conversation about this since Joe Rogan went on the radio show, and you know, speculation was Gina Carano, and you know, I don't know.
Have you talked to Joe about it?
Yeah, I did. I said thanks, Joe.
Where's you getting this from? Is this just Joe being Joe and like?
No, Joe doesn't just go out and start making shit up, you know. But he never said Gina Carano was coming to the UFC. He never said that.
Have you spoken to Nate Diaz today?
I have not.
What did you make of his tweet?
What did he tweet?
He said that he basically wants to be released from his UFC contract.
Really?
Yeah.
He hasn't called me.
Would you?
Is that how we do these things? You tweet?
Apparently so. But if he asks you, if he gets on the phone and calls you and asks you to be released, would you release him?
The answer would be no. He just signed a new contract that he was happy with a month ago.
What do you make of behavior like that from fighters on Twitter when they kind of say something controversial like that?
I don't think that's definitely not controversial for the Diaz brothers. That's called normal. But you know, it's listen. I got 500 guys under contract, and there's always something. Every day when I wake up, there's something.
What's been the fallout from the whole TRT thing in terms of what you guys have to deal with in the office?
The fallout has been zero. ESPN, as usual, you know, they like to embellish shit. First of all, we have 500 guys under contract. Now that this new thing has come in and TRT is in, 5 guys can't take TRT out of 500. 5 guys had exemptions. They made it sound like it's rampant throughout the MMA world. You know what I mean? With 5 guys is rampant. What? Say it. Say it.
What's been? How about you and Vitor specifically? You defended, you know, him being on it because it was legal, and there was some controversy over whether or not.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing ESPN said in their story. When Dana White was at, you know, has talked about this in the past, he was flip-flop. I never fucking flip-flop. Ever did I flip-flop. I said right off the bat, I don't like it. We shouldn't use it. I get it. It's science. I even said it's a loophole in the system. What happens is you have science goes out there and they create this thing where men, as they get older, get lower testosterone, and they can build your testosterone back up. But of course, you're always going to have fucking guys that, well, if this much brings me back to normal, where does this much take me, right? That's always going to happen if you have a loophole like that in the system. I've been the guy who's been vocal about it and said it should go away, it should go away, it should go away. And if you don't think that had a huge impact on why it went away, you're crazy. So the whole ESPN, that thing was such a sham. That story was such a sham, and of course they ran the shit out of it, because it's negative. Half of it wasn't true, or was just embellished. It's rampant throughout MMA. 500 guys, five guys can't have exemptions now. That's rampant. So what were you asking me about Vitor?
I mean, do you think he'll be able to come back without it? First of all, I mean, he's one of the guys who said, I absolutely have to have this to be able to compete.
Right.
And then he falls off the card and says, okay, well, I'll just cycle off it and then I should be fine.
Yeah.
Channels said that.
With endocrinologists, there are other ways of getting your testosterone.
Who knows what's going to happen? And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. I don't care. If you need that stuff to perform and compete, you probably shouldn't perform or compete anymore. You know what I mean? Have I flip-flopped ever on my stance on this stuff? It goes away. I don't give a shit. Not my problem. And that fight, the whole Vitor thing, that battle's not my battle. That's Vitor's battle.
Peter Belfort claimed that he still is.
Claims that he's still what?
He's next.
Sure, he's still in line. That doesn't take him out of line at all. I mean, the fights he's won. And I can tell you this, Vitor Belfort, every time he was tested by us, was within his levels. He was where he was supposed to be. And I also told you guys that we were going to test the shit out of him, and we did. And he was always within his levels. I don't like cheating, whether it's with drugs. I don't like fighters getting ripped off by referees. I don't like fighters getting ripped off by judges. I don't like any of that. I like a fair playing field and everybody to, everybody's given the opportunity and everything should be fair. That's why I've been screaming and yelling about athletic commissions getting the right judges and refs, and I could care less if TRT goes away. Government, there's a loophole that was there, now it's gone.
Were you taken by surprise when the assembly or the commission voted on the council voted that day?
Nope.
Did you know it was coming?
No, I didn't know it was coming, but I've been given a lot of heat. I've been talking about it nonstop, that it's bullshit, that should go away. So, no, I wasn't shocked when they did it. And I'll tell you this, too. You guys have heard me rip Nevada many, many times. Nevada's done a fantastic job. Cisco is really doing a great job over there right now, and all the other athletic commissioners. So I couldn't be happier with the commission now. I think they're doing a great job.
A few years ago, when you first bought Strikeforce, I remember you saying that you had big plans, and you couldn't reveal those big plans were going to be because of what went down with the network. Now that that's settled in the whole Strikeforce deal and being formed into the UFC, can you just give us some insight about what your original big plans were?
Budo and fitness stores keeps you in the game. Fighter gear for fighters by fighters.